The old clock
Oh
in Windsor Castle
my
struck
God.
midnight. Princess Emma sat alone in her bedroom, holding a letter in her shaking hands. Her eyes were red from crying. The letter was from her mother, the Queen, but it was not like any letter she had ever received before. This letter held a secret that would change Emma's life forever. Emma was 25 years old. She had lived her whole life inside palace walls. Every morning, servants woke her up. Every day, cameras followed her. Every night, she went to sleep knowing that millions of people watched everything she did. But tonight was different. Tonight, she learned the truth about who she really was. The letter was old and yellow. Her mother had written it 25 years ago, on the day Emma was born. The Queen had kept it hidden all these years, waiting for the right moment to give it to her daughter. But the Queen had died 3 weeks ago, and the royal lawyer had found the letter locked in a secret drawer. Emma read the words again, even though they made her heart break. "My dearest Emma," the letter said, "you are not my biological daughter. Your real mother died giving birth to you. She was my closest friend, a woman I loved like a sister. She made me promise to raise you as my own. I have kept that promise, and I have loved you with all my heart. But now you must know the truth." Emma stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the palace gardens were dark and quiet. Somewhere in those gardens, her real mother was buried. For 25 years, Emma had walked past that grave without knowing it belonged to the woman who gave her life. A soft knock came at the door. "Princess Emma?" a gentle voice called. It was Margaret, the old servant who had worked at the castle for 50 years. Margaret had helped raise Emma since she was a baby. "Come in," Emma said quietly. Margaret entered slowly. Her white hair was loose around her shoulders. She was wearing a simple nightgown. This was not the formal servant who stood straight during the day. This was the warm woman who had hugged Emma when she was scared as a child. "You read the letter," Margaret said. It was not a question. Emma nodded. "Did you know?" she asked. "Did you know all this time?" Margaret walked closer. Her old eyes were filled with tears. "Yes, child, I knew. I was there the night your real mother died. I held her hand as she took her last breath. She made the Queen promise to love you, and the Queen did. She loved you more than anything in this world. But why did they lie to me?" Emma's voice broke. "Why didn't anyone tell me the truth?" Margaret sat down on the bed and patted the space beside her. Emma sat down, just like she used to do when she was a little girl with a problem. "Your real mother was not royal," Margaret explained. "She was a common woman, a teacher from a small village. She and the Queen became friends when they were young, before the Queen married the king. They loved each other like sisters. When your mother got pregnant, the father left her. She had no family, no money, nowhere to go. The Queen brought her here to the palace, kept her hidden, kept her safe." Emma listened carefully. She could not believe what she was hearing. "But your mother was very sick," Margaret continued. "The doctors said she might not survive the birth. She was so scared, not for herself, but for you. She did not want you to grow up alone and poor. So she asked the Queen to raise you as a princess. The Queen agreed. She said she would love you and protect you forever." "What was her name?" Emma whispered. "My real mother, what was her name?" "Sarah," Margaret said softly. "Her name was Sarah Miller. She was beautiful, kind, and brave. She died holding you in her arms, knowing you would be safe." Emma felt tears running down her face. All her life, she had been Princess Emma, daughter of the Queen, future leader of the country. Now she was also Emma Miller, daughter of Sarah, a woman she never knew, but who loved her enough to give her everything. "The Queen loved you so much," Margaret said, holding Emma's hand. "She raised you as her own daughter. She never treated you differently. She gave you the same love, the same care, the same future as any royal child. That was her gift to Sarah, and to you." Emma looked at the letter again. At the bottom, her mother, the Queen, had written one more thing. Emma, you are my daughter in every way that matters. Blood does not make a family. Love does. I have loved you from the moment I held you. You are, and will always be, my precious daughter. Be proud of Sarah. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of the truth. There's something else, Margaret said quietly. She pulled out a small box from her pocket. Sarah left this for you. The Queen kept it safe all these years, waiting for the day you would learn the truth. Emma opened the box with trembling fingers. Inside was a simple silver necklace with a small heart charm. There was also a photograph. In the picture, a young woman with Emma's eyes and Emma's smile looked at the camera. She was sitting in a garden, laughing, her hand on her pregnant belly. On the back of the photo, someone had written, Sarah Miller, 3 months before Emma was born. Emma stared at the face of the woman who gave her life. For the first time, she saw where she came from. She saw the real woman behind her story. And in that moment, sitting in her palace bedroom at midnight, Princess Emma understood something important. She was not just a princess. She was also the daughter of a brave woman who made the hardest choice a mother can make. Thank you, Margaret, Emma said, hugging the old woman tight. Thank you for telling me the truth. Outside, the palace stood tall and grand in the darkness. But inside one bedroom, a young princess held a photograph and cried not tears of anger or sadness, but tears of love for 2 mothers who had both given her everything they could.
The next morning, Princess Emma woke up early. She had barely slept. Her mind was full of questions about Sarah Miller, the mother she never knew. Emma looked at the photograph again. The woman in the picture had kind eyes and a gentle smile. She looked happy, even though she knew she might die. Emma got dressed quickly. She did not call her servants. She did not want anyone to help her today. She put on simple clothes, jeans and a sweater. She tied her hair back. She looked at herself in the mirror. For the first time in her life, she did not see a princess. She saw Emma Miller's daughter. Margaret was waiting outside her door. The old woman had not slept either. You want to see her grave? Margaret said. It was not a question. Yes, Emma replied. Will you take me there? Margaret nodded. Come, we must go before the other servants wake up. The grave is in the old part of the garden, where no one goes anymore. The Queen made sure it was private and peaceful. They walked through the quiet palace halls. Their footsteps echoed on the marble floors. Emma had walked these halls her whole life, but today everything felt different. Every portrait on the wall, every grand room, they all seemed to belong to someone else now. They went outside through a side door. The morning air was cold and fresh. The sun was just beginning to rise, painting the sky pink and orange. The palace gardens were huge, with tall trees and beautiful flowers. Emma had played here as a child, running through the paths, hiding behind bushes. But she had never been to the old section. Margaret led her down a narrow path covered with leaves. The trees here were older, their branches hanging low. Wildflowers grew everywhere. It was beautiful in a natural way, not like the perfect gardens near the palace. The Queen used to come here every week, Margaret said as they walked. She would sit by Sarah's grave and talk to her. She would tell Sarah how you were growing, what you were learning, how proud she was of you. Sometimes I would see her crying. Sometimes I would see her smiling. Emma's heart felt heavy. The Queen had carried the secret alone for so many years. She had loved 2 people, her best friend Sarah and Sarah's daughter Emma. She had promised to care for Emma, and she had kept that promise until her last breath. They reached a small clearing. In the middle stood a simple white stone. It was not like the grand royal tombs. It was peaceful and humble. Emma walked closer and read the words carved into the stone. Sarah Miller, beloved friend, loving mother, forever remembered. Below that, in smaller letters, she gave everything for love. Emma fell to her knees in front of the grave. She touched the cold stone with her shaking hands. Hello, Mother, she whispered. I'm Emma. I'm your daughter. The tears came fast and strong. Emma cried for the mother she never knew. She cried for the Queen who had kept this heavy secret. She cried for the life Sarah never got to live. She cried for all the years she had walked past this grave without knowing. Margaret sat down beside her on the grass. She put her arm around Emma's shoulders. They sat in silence for a long time, listening to birds singing in the trees. "Tell me about her," Emma finally said. "Tell me everything you remember." Margaret smiled softly. Sarah was 28 when she came to the palace. She was a teacher in a village school. The children loved her. She was patient and kind. She loved books and flowers and music. She played the piano beautifully. "I play the piano," Emma said quietly. "I know," Margaret replied. "The Queen taught you." She said it was a gift from Sarah. "Your mother played for hours when she was pregnant with you. The Queen believed you heard that music before you were born." Emma closed her eyes. She tried to imagine Sarah sitting at a piano, her hands moving over the keys, her belly round with Emma growing inside. Sarah was scared when she found out she was pregnant. Margaret continued. The man she loved had left her. She had no money. She thought she would lose everything. But the Queen brought her here. The Queen said, "You are my sister, my heart. Your child will be my child. We will face this together." "They must have been very close," Emma said. "They were like one soul in two bodies," Margaret replied. "They met when they were both 17. The Queen was still a princess then, before she married the king. Sarah was working in the palace library for the summer. They became friends immediately. When the Queen had to marry for duty, Sarah was the only one who understood how hard it was. They stayed friends through everything." Emma looked at the grave again. She noticed fresh flowers beside the stone. "Who put these here?" she asked. "I did," Margaret said. "Every week for 25 years. The Queen asked me to promise that Sarah's grave would never be forgotten. Even after the Queen died, I kept my promise." Emma picked up one of the flowers. It was a white rose, simple and beautiful. "Margaret, there's something I need to know. Does anyone else know the truth? Does the royal family know? Does the government know?" Margaret shook her head. "Only 3 people knew the full truth. The Queen, myself, and the royal doctor who delivered you. The doctor died 10 years ago. The Queen told everyone else that she was pregnant. She stayed hidden for months. When Sarah gave birth, the Queen came out holding you. Everyone believed you were hers. So I'm not really a princess," Emma said slowly. "I have no royal blood." "You are a princess because the Queen made you one," Margaret said firmly. "She raised you. She loved you. She gave you her name and her title. In every way that matters, you are her daughter." Emma stood up. She looked down at the grave one more time. "I want to tell people the truth," she said. "The Queen is gone now. I don't want to hide anymore. Sarah deserves to be remembered. Her story deserves to be told." Margaret stood up too. Her face looked worried. "Emma, if you tell the truth, everything will change. The royal family might reject you. The people might not accept you. You could lose everything. Or," Emma said quietly, "I could finally be free. I could honor both my mothers, the one who gave me life and the one who raised me. I could show people that love makes a family, not blood." Margaret studied Emma's face. She saw determination there and courage. "You are so much like both of them," she said. "Sarah's kindness and the Queen's strength." Emma picked up another white rose from the grave. "I need time to think," she said. "But first, I want to know everything about Sarah. I want to see where she lived. I want to read her letters. I want to know who my mother really was." Margaret smiled. "The Queen saved everything. Sarah's letters, her books, her journal. They're locked in a trunk in the Queen's private room. I have the key." As they walked back to the palace, Emma held the white rose carefully. The sun was fully up now, bright and warm. She knew that her life was about to change forever. The secret was out, and she had to decide what to do with the truth. Behind them, in the quiet clearing, Sarah Miller's grave stood peaceful and still, finally visited by the daughter she had died to protect. Emma and Margaret walked through the palace to the Queen's private room. Emma had not entered this room since her mother died 3 weeks ago. The door was locked. Margaret pulled out an old key from her pocket and opened it slowly. The room smelled like roses, the Queen's favorite flower. Everything was exactly as the Queen had left it. Her reading glasses sat on the table. Her silk robe hung on the chair. The bed was made perfectly. Emma felt her throat tighten. She missed her mother so much. "The trunk is in the closet," Margaret said softly. They walked to the large closet. Behind the Queen's beautiful dresses, they found an old wooden trunk. It was simple and plain, not like the fancy boxes and chests in the palace. Margaret knelt down and unlocked it with another small key. Inside the trunk, Emma saw papers, books, and photographs. Everything was organized carefully. The Queen had kept these things safe for 25 years, waiting for this moment. Margaret lifted out a leather journal. "This was Sarah's diary," she said, handing it to Emma. "She wrote in it every day when she lived here at the palace." Emma held the journal with shaking hands. The leather was soft and worn. She opened it carefully. On the first page, in beautiful handwriting, it said, "This journal belongs to Sarah Miller. If you are reading this, I am gone, but my words remain." Emma sat down on the floor, her back against the wall. Margaret sat beside her. Emma began to read. The first entry was from 6 months before Emma was born. "I am 3 months pregnant today," Sarah had written. "I am scared and alone. But the Queen, my dearest friend Elizabeth, has saved me. She brought me to the palace. She is hiding me from the world. She says my baby will be safe here. I don't know what I did to deserve such a friend." Emma read on. Page after page, Sarah wrote about her days at the palace. She wrote about feeling sick in the mornings. She wrote about feeling the baby kick for the first time. She wrote about her fears and her hopes. One entry made Emma cry. "I went to the doctor today. He says I am very sick. He says I might not survive the birth. I am so afraid, not for myself, but for my baby. What will happen to my child if I die? Who will love her? Who will protect her?" The next entry was written the same day. "Elizabeth came to my room tonight. She held my hands and made me a promise. She said, 'If anything happens to you, I will raise your baby as my own. I will love her with all my heart. She will never feel alone or unwanted. She will be a princess. She will have everything.' I cried in her arms. She is the sister I never had. I trust her with my life and with my baby's life." Emma wiped her tears. She looked at Margaret. "The Queen gave up so much for me. She lied to everyone. She risked everything. She did it because she loved Sarah," Margaret said, "and because she loved you from the moment you were born." Emma continued reading. Sarah wrote about choosing Emma's name. "If my baby is a girl, I will name her Emma. It means whole or universal. I want her to be complete and loved by everyone. I want her to know she belongs in this world." There were happy entries, too. Sarah wrote about walking in the gardens. She wrote about playing the piano. She wrote about the Queen reading baby books with her and laughing about the funny advice. She wrote about feeling the baby move and imagining what she would look like. "Elizabeth and I talk about the future," Sarah wrote. "She asks me what I want my daughter to know. I tell her I want Emma to be kind. I want her to be brave. I want her to know that real strength comes from love, not power. I want her to help people who are weak and alone, because I know what it feels like to have nowhere to go." Emma stopped reading. She thought about her life. The Queen had taught her exactly those things. Every lesson, every value, every piece of advice, it all came from Sarah's wishes. The Queen had kept her promise in every way. Margaret reached into the trunk and pulled out a stack of letters tied with a blue ribbon. "These are letters Sarah wrote to you," she said. "She wrote one letter each week, knowing she might not live to give them to you herself." Emma untied the ribbon with trembling fingers. There were more than 20 letters. She opened the first one. It was dated 7 months before Emma was born. "My dearest Emma," the letter began, "you are growing inside me as I write this. I can feel you moving. You are so alive, so real. I am writing these letters because I am afraid I will not be here to tell you these things myself. I want you to know that you are wanted. You are loved. You are a gift." Emma read letter after letter. Sarah wrote about her dreams for Emma. She wrote about her own childhood and the lessons she learned. She wrote about love and loss and hope. She wrote about being brave when life is hard. One letter was different from the others. It was written the day before Emma was born. Sarah's handwriting was shaky, as if she was very weak. "My darling Emma," it said, "tomorrow I will hold you for the first time. The doctors say it might also be the last time. I am not afraid to die, but I am heartbroken to leave you. Please know that giving you life was the greatest thing I ever did. Please know that Elizabeth will love you like I would have loved you. Please know that every good thing in your life is a gift from me and from her. Be happy, my baby. Be kind. Be brave. And remember, even if you never knew me, I knew you. I loved you before you were born, and I will love you forever." Emma could not stop crying. She held the letter against her heart. Margaret wrapped her arms around her, and they sat together on the floor of the Queen's room, surrounded by Sarah's words and memories. After a long time, Emma looked up. Her eyes were red but determined. "Margaret, I need to do something important. I need to tell the world about Sarah. Not just that she was my mother, but who she really was. She was kind and brave. She sacrificed everything. Her story should not be hidden." Margaret looked worried. "Emma, the royal council will be very angry. They protect the image of the royal family. They will not want this secret to come out." "I don't care," Emma said firmly. "Sarah died to give me life. The Queen raised me to be brave and honest. I will not hide anymore. Tomorrow, I will call a meeting with the royal council. I will tell them everything. Then I will tell the country. Sarah Miller deserves to be remembered." Margaret studied Emma's face. She saw courage there and love. "Your mothers will be proud of you," she said quietly. Emma stood up, still holding Sarah's letters. She looked around the Queen's room one last time. Two women had loved her more than life itself. One had given her breath. The other had given her a future. Now it was Emma's turn to give them both something back. The truth. As the sun set outside the palace windows, Princess Emma made a decision that would change the royal family forever. She would honor both her mothers by being brave enough to tell their story. No more secrets. No more lies. Only love and truth. The next morning, Princess Emma sat in the grand meeting room. Her hands were folded on the table, but inside she was shaking. Around the long table sat 12 members of the royal council. These were powerful men and women who advised the royal family. They made important decisions. They protected the crown's reputation. Lord Harrison sat at the head of the table. He was 70 years old, with gray hair and cold eyes. He had served the royal family for 40 years. He did not like surprises, and he did not like change. "Princess Emma," Lord Harrison said, "you called this emergency meeting. Please tell us why." Emma took a deep breath. She had practiced what she would say all night, but now, looking at their serious faces, her courage almost failed her. Then she remembered Sarah's letters. She remembered the Queen's love. She remembered Margaret's words. "Your mothers would be proud of you. I have something important to tell you," Emma began. Her voice was quiet but steady. "It is about who I am. It is about the truth." The council members looked at each other, confused. Emma continued, "The Queen was not my biological mother. My real mother was a woman named Sarah Miller. She was the Queen's best friend. She died giving birth to me. The Queen raised me as her own daughter to keep a promise she made to Sarah." The room went completely silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Then suddenly everyone started talking at once. "This is impossible," shouted Lady Victoria. "The Queen would never lie," said Lord Thomas. "This must be a mistake," cried Lord Harrison. Emma raised her hand. "It is not a mistake. I have proof. I have Sarah's diary. I have letters. I have photographs. Margaret, the senior servant, knows the truth. The royal doctor who delivered me knew the truth. It is real." Lord Harrison's face turned red. He stood up from his chair. "Even if this wild story is true, why are you telling us? Why bring this up now? The Queen is dead. The secret died with her. We should let it stay buried." "No," Emma said firmly. "I will not hide the truth anymore. Sarah Miller was my mother. She deserves to be remembered. The Queen kept this secret to protect me, but I am an adult now. I want to honor both my mothers by telling the world their story. Absolutely not. Lord Harrison shouted. Do you understand what this will do to the royal family? People will say the Queen was a liar. They will say you are not a real princess. They will question everything. The scandal will destroy us. Lady Victoria spoke up. She was younger than the others, only 45 years old. Princess Emma, Lord Harrison is right. This news will shock the country. It will damage the crown's reputation. Why would you want to cause such trouble? Emma looked at each council member. Because lies cause more trouble than truth, she said. Because Sarah Miller was a good woman who made the ultimate sacrifice for her child. Because the Queen showed the greatest love by raising a friend's baby as her own. Their story is beautiful, not shameful. It shows that families are built on love, not just blood. Beautiful? Lord Harrison laughed coldly. The people will not see it as beautiful. They will see deception. They will lose trust in the royal family. Then maybe they should, Emma said quietly. Maybe the royal family should earn trust through honesty, not through hiding the truth. Lord Harrison's face turned even redder. You are young and foolish. You do not understand how the world works. If you tell this story, the government might remove you from the line of succession. You could lose your title. You could lose everything. I know, Emma said, but I would rather lose my title than lose my integrity. I would rather be honest Emma Miller than a princess built on lies. Another council member, Lord Christopher, spoke for the first time. He was 60 years old and had kind eyes. Princess Emma, I understand your feelings, but please think carefully. You have done so much good work as a princess. You help charities. You visit sick children. You support education programs. If you lose your position, you cannot help people anymore. Emma had thought about this. I can still help people without a title, she said. And maybe by telling the truth, I can help people in a different way. I can show them that being honest is more important than being perfect. I can show them that real families come in many forms. Lady Victoria shook her head. The media will destroy you. They will write terrible things. They will dig into every detail of your life and Sarah's life. Are you ready for that? No, Emma admitted. I am scared, but I am more scared of living a lie forever. Margaret entered the room quietly. She had been waiting outside. Emma had asked her to come if she needed support. Margaret walked to Emma's side and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. I can confirm everything Princess Emma has said, Margaret told the council. I was there when Sarah Miller died. I helped the Queen keep the secret. But the princess is right. The truth should come out. Sarah was a wonderful woman. The Queen loved her like a sister. This story is about love and sacrifice, not about scandal. Lord Harrison pointed at Margaret. You are just a servant. Your opinion does not matter here. She matters to me, Emma said strongly. Margaret has more wisdom and kindness than anyone in this room. I trust her more than I trust any of you. Lord Harrison slammed his hand on the table. This is madness. I will not allow this. As head of the Royal Council, I forbid you from saying anything about this to anyone. Emma stood up. She looked Lord Harrison directly in the eyes. You cannot forbid me. The Queen is dead. I am an adult. I make my own choices. I am going to hold a press conference tomorrow. I am going to tell the world the truth about Sarah Miller and about who I really am. Then you are a fool, Lord Harrison said coldly, and you will regret this for the rest of your life. Maybe, Emma replied, but at least I will be able to look at myself in the mirror. At least I will know I honor my mother's memories. At least I will be living in truth. She turned to leave the room. Margaret followed her. Behind them, the council members erupted in angry arguments. Some shouted that they must stop Emma. Others wondered if maybe she was right. Lord Christopher sat quietly, a small smile on his face. Outside the meeting room, Emma leaned against the wall. She was shaking. Margaret hugged her tight. That was very brave, Margaret whispered. I don't feel brave, Emma said. I feel terrified. All brave people feel terrified, Margaret replied. That is what makes them brave. They do the right thing even when they're scared. Emma pulled away and wiped her eyes. Tomorrow I tell the world. There's no going back now. No, Margaret agreed. There's no going back. Only forward into the truth. That night, Emma could not sleep. She thought about Sarah. She thought about the Queen. She thought about the press conference tomorrow. The whole world would learn that Princess Emma was not really royal by blood. Some people would be angry. Some would be disappointed. Some would reject her. But maybe, just maybe, some people would understand. Maybe some people would see that love makes a family. Maybe some people would be inspired by Sarah's sacrifice and the Queen's devotion. Emma looked at Sarah's photograph one more time. I hope I am making you proud, she whispered. Tomorrow, the world will know your name. The truth revealed. The next morning, Princess Emma stood outside the royal council chamber. Her heart was beating fast. Inside that room waited 12 powerful people, advisors, lords, and government officials who had served the royal family for decades. They did not know why Emma had called this emergency meeting. Emma wore a simple blue dress. Around her neck was Sarah's silver necklace with the heart charm. In her hands, she held Sarah's letters and the photograph. Margaret stood beside her, giving her strength. Are you ready? Margaret whispered. Emma took a deep breath. Yes, it's time for the truth. She pushed open the heavy doors and walked inside. The council members stood up, surprised to see her dressed so simply. Usually, Emma wore formal royal clothes to these meetings. Your Royal Highness, the head counselor said. His name was Lord Harrison. He was an old man with gray hair and cold eyes. This is very unusual. What is so urgent? Emma walked to the front of the room. She placed Sarah's photograph on the table, where everyone could see it. I have called you here to tell you something important. Something that will change everything you think you know about me and about the royal family. The council members looked at each other, confused. Emma's voice was steady and strong. The Queen was not my biological mother. This woman, Sarah Miller, was my real mother. She died giving birth to me 25 years ago. The Queen promised to raise me as her own daughter, and she kept that promise until her death. The room exploded with shocked voices. Lord Harrison's face turned red with anger. This is impossible. The Queen would never. This must be a mistake. It is not a mistake, Emma said firmly. She held up Sarah's letters. I have proof. My mother, Sarah, wrote these letters. The Queen kept them safe for me. Margaret, who has served this palace for 50 years, knows the truth. The royal doctor who delivered me knew the truth. It is real. Another council member, Lady Victoria, stood up. Her voice was sharp. Do you understand what this means? If you are not the Queen's biological daughter, you have no royal blood. You have no right to the title of princess. You have no claim to anything. I know, Emma said quietly. I have thought about this all night. I know what I am risking, but I cannot live a lie anymore. Sarah Miller was a good woman who died to give me life. The Queen was a good woman who gave up everything to keep her promise to her best friend. Both of them deserve to have their story told. The truth deserves to be known. Lord Harrison slammed his hand on the table. You foolish girl. Do you know what will happen when the people find out? The newspapers will destroy you. The other royal families will laugh at us. Our enemies will use this against us. Let them, Emma said. Her voice was calm but powerful. I would rather be honest and lose everything than live as a lie and keep everything. My mother Sarah taught me that in her letters. She said that real strength comes from love, not power. She said that being brave means doing what is right, even when it is hard. Margaret stepped forward. The princess speaks the truth. I was there the night Sarah died. I saw how much the Queen loved her friend. I saw how much she loved Emma. What they did was not wrong. It was beautiful. It was love. Lady Victoria's voice was cold. Love does not change facts. If this gets out, it will be a scandal. The royal family will be humiliated. Emma looked around at all the angry, worried faces. Or, she said slowly, it could be something beautiful. It could show people that families are made by love, not just by blood. It could show that the Queen was not just a ruler, but a woman with a big heart who kept a sacred promise. It could show that being royal is not about blood. It is about character and honor. The room went quiet. Some council members looked thoughtful. Others still looked angry. Emma continued, "Tomorrow morning, I am going to speak to the nation. I am going to tell them everything. I am going to show them Sarah's photograph. I am going to read parts of her letters. I am going to honor both of my mothers, the one who gave me life and the one who raised me. And then I am going to let the people decide. If they wanted to step down, I will. If they want me to leave the palace, I will. But I will not hide the truth anymore." Lord Harrison stood up. "The council forbids this. We cannot allow you to destroy everything the Queen built." "The Queen built her legacy on love and truth," Emma said firmly. "I am honoring that legacy by being honest. You cannot stop me. This is my decision." She turned and walked out of the room, Margaret following close behind. Behind them, the council erupted in angry shouts and arguments. But Emma did not look back. That night, Emma could not sleep. She sat in her room, preparing what she would say to the nation. She looked at Sarah's photograph and the Queen's letter. Two mothers, two different kinds of love, both equally real and powerful. The next morning, television cameras filled the palace courtyard. Thousands of people gathered outside the gates. Nobody knew what the princess wanted to announce, but they could feel that it was important. Emma walked out onto the palace balcony. She wore Sarah's necklace. She held the photograph in her hands. The crowd below went silent, waiting. "Good morning," Emma began. Her voice was clear and strong. "Today I want to tell you a story. It is a story about two women who loved each other like sisters. It is a story about sacrifice and promise. It is a story about what makes a family real." She told them everything. She showed them Sarah's photograph. She read parts of Sarah's letters, her voice breaking with emotion. She told them how the Queen had kept her promise for 25 years. She told them about finding the grave, about learning the truth, about deciding to be honest. "I am not the Queen's biological daughter," Emma said, tears running down her face. "But I am her daughter in every way that matters. She raised me. She loved me. She taught me everything I know. And my mother, Sarah, who I never met, loved me enough to give me life and to trust her best friend with my future." The crowd below was completely silent. Many people were crying. "I know this news is shocking," Emma continued. "I know some of you may feel betrayed or angry. I understand if you think I should not be called a princess anymore. But I want you to know that I am grateful. I am grateful to both of my mothers. I am grateful for the life I have lived. And I am grateful for the chance to tell you the truth." She paused, looking out at the thousands of faces. "My mother, Sarah, wrote that real strength comes from love, not power. She wrote that being brave means doing what is right, even when it is hard. Today, I am trying to be brave. I am trying to honor both of my mothers by living in truth." For a moment, nothing happened. The crowd stood frozen. Then, slowly, one person started clapping. Then another. Then another. Soon, the entire crowd was applauding. The sound grew louder and louder, echoing through the streets of London. People were not angry. They were moved. They were crying and clapping at the same time. Someone in the crowd shouted, "We love you, Princess Emma." Others joined in. "You are our princess. You will always be our princess." Emma could not believe it. She had expected rejection. She had expected anger. Instead, she was receiving love and acceptance. Over the next days and weeks, letters poured into the palace. Thousands of people wrote to Emma, sharing their own stories. Adopted children wrote to say they finally felt seen. People who had lost parents wrote to say they understood. Families built on love, not blood, wrote to thank her for showing that they were valid and real. The royal council had no choice but to accept the people's decision. Emma remained Princess Emma, not because of blood, but because of the love and respect of the nation. Emma had a special memorial built in the palace gardens. It honored both the Queen and Sarah Miller. The stone said, "Two mothers, one heart. Love makes a family." Every week, Emma visited that memorial. She would sit there and talk to both of her mothers, telling them about her life, her decisions, her hopes. And she always left 2 white roses, one for the mother who gave her life, and one for the mother who gave her everything else. The truth had set Emma free, and in being free, she had given the world permission to live in truth too. That was the greatest gift any princess could give.